Hello, this is Lauren Rupert, and you're listening to an Oshawa Museum podcast. Today's topic is about Doctor Franklin J Rundle, MD, CM, FTMC, one of the first doctors in the Oshawa area. This podcast series aims to actively promote awareness and appreciation of our community's history, highlighting remarkable artifacts, documents, photographs, or events from our past. We hope you enjoy the podcast. The story of Dr. Franklin J Rundle begins in Sarnia, Ontario on September the 8th, 1882. He was the child of two English parents, Mr. and Mrs. Thomas Rundle, who emigrated from the Cornwall area in 1854. His father was a community-oriented man who was the reeve of Port Perry for several years, as well as serving as a member of the city council in Port Perry. Dr. Rundle grew up with four brothers, himself being the youngest of the five, and two sisters. Dr. Rundle attended schools in Brooklyn and Port Perry and later went on to Port Perry High School. In 1903, he was the proud graduate of Trinity Medical College with the distinction of medical doctor. Dr. Rundle was a member of the first graduating class after the school became part of the University of Toronto. After his graduation, Dr. Rundle moved on to complete his postgraduate years at the New York Medical School and Hospital. During his adult life, Dr. Rundle was a constant presence in his community, and remained so until his passing in 1957. He began his practice in Oshawa in 1906, shortly after he had returned from his postgraduate studies. Dr. Rundle had a long and distinguished career as a physician. He was the municipal officer of health for 40 years in the district of East Whitby, starting in 1912. Dr. Rundle also took on the role of coroner for East Whitby for several years, and was a medical examiner and surgeon for the Canadian Pacific Railway. He also served the Bell Telephone Company in the same capacity. As many physicians do, Dr. Rundle found himself practicing in more than one location during his time as a doctor. One of the first places that he found himself was at the Oshawa Hospital right as it was opening in 1910. For several years, Dr. Rundle continued here as a hospital doctor, but before long, he had opened his own practice. This practice was located at 107 and 109 Simcoe Street South, and was a clinic attached to his personal residence. The practice was described by Dr. Rundle's youngest son, Thomas M. Rundle, as follows. The office was equipped with a dispensary as well as an operating room with an adjacent, very attractive recovery room. He performed minor surgeries there for many years. The house and practice were later sold and demolished to make way for the Anglo-Canadian Drug Company, a pharmaceutical company. Once the company went out of business, the building was once again changed, first to the Ontario Motor Sales, then into the Canadian Automotive Museum that it is today. After the original family home was sold, Dr. Rundle and his wife moved to a handsomely sized home in the Harmony area. This home came to be called Austell Manor, the name coming from the small village of St. Austell in Cornwall, England. The village was special to the couple, as they found out, 15 years after their marriage, that they were descended from the same family that had inhabited the area almost a century ago. As was mentioned previously, Dr. Rundle was indeed married. In 1920, Dr. Rundle found himself courting an Oshawa nurse by the name of Mabel Hutcherson, whom he had worked with during the recent flu epidemic. After his marriage, Dr. Rundle and his wife went on to have 5 sons: Francis H. Rundle, Dr. James E. Rundle, Charles H. Rundle, Dr. G. A. Rundle, and Thomas M. Rundle. It is interesting to note here that 2 of Dr. Rundle's sons also grew up to become doctors. Dr. Rundle's illustrious career was not only defined by the daily tasks of being a father, husband, or doctor, but also through his community involvement. He found time to be the president of more than one hockey team, president of the Young Canada Conservation Club, a medical advisor for the Oshawa Boy Scouts Association, and also indulge his hobby of deer hunting. Dr. Rundle also found time to serve as an alderman for the city of Oshawa in 1933 and 1934, and he even ran for mayor in Oshawa in 1935, albeit unsuccessfully. Dr. Rundle was described as a very busy man and a most useful citizen by the Ontario County Medical Association in the Doctors of Ontario County book, published in 1934. Beyond this, there are also cherished memories of Dr. Rundle from Oshawa citizens, one of which focuses around Dr. Rundle and his car. It is said that Dr. Rundle was one of the first Oshawa doctors to be graced with the privilege of owning an automobile. The car was a 1904 Model T and had been customized by McLaughlin Motors. Apparently no one could tell what kind of car it was that Dr. Rundle was driving till they lifted the hood and saw the Ford marking on the motor. Some recall how busy Dr. Rundle was during the flu epidemic, with him traveling around in his car not only to attend to his patients but also to speak his mind about their living conditions. Nonetheless, he won the respect and loyalty of his community. Dr. Franklin J Rundle passed away at the age of 75 on November the 4th, 1957, after having been in poor health for the last 7 years of his life. His wife Mabel survived him and lived till 1977, when she passed away at the age of 86. They are both resting inside the mausoleum at Oshawa's Union Cemetery. If this video has interested you and you would like to know more about the medical history of Oshawa, please join us at the Oshawa Museum this fall for our new exhibit, Community Health in the 20th Century, an Oshawa Perspective. This has been an Oshawa Museum podcast. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out our other historical podcasts and subscribe to our channel.